All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Here we are, 411 Sports World Network. Look, we're on YouTube, 411 Sports World Network. We're on TikTok, Mr. 411, MISTERFOURONEONE. The same thing on Instagram. In the house tonight is Antoine, my homie. Twan, what's up?
What's going on, Mr. 411?
Hey, man. It's 2 more days and it'll be 411 day, April 11th, but today is April the 9th. Beautiful day, man.
That's what's up.
Yep. All right, man. We here. We chilling. We just gonna talk sports, man. You know how we do it. We've been talking for years, but I like to get you in here because you have a unique take on things, and it's real take. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're about. We're about giving those real takes, unscripted, all that good stuff, and basically we're the people, right? So we're the fabric.
We the people.
Y'all
Exactly.
see on and as y'all can see on the screen, those are the topics right there we're going to tackle tonight. Some topics we'll tackle longer than others. We never know. It's unscripted, as we said. But Geno and Don, all right, we're going to talk about what happened there between them and that infamous uh, handshake, if you will, at the end of that game. Uh, Man, we got news in Atlanta. Angel Reese is now in Atlanta, ATL. She's an ATLian now. The NBA, we're going to talk about that. The playoff races is the final week of the regular season, so we'll get into that. And a couple of things within the league, like the 65 game rule. I can't wait to hear Antoine's uh, opinion on that, and I'll give mine as well with that 65 game rule. That's been a heated topic. And then to top it all off, we'll talk about the king, the GOAT, LeBron James, and his comment about Memphis, Tennessee. All right, man. Let's start off with Geno and Don, man. Geno and Don Staley with the infamous handshake at the end of that game. A lot of controversy behind that, man. So, for those who don't know, South Carolina in the Final Four defeated UConn, and that was UConn's first loss of the entire season. So I know that was a frustrating situation there for Geno, but then it was a controversial situation at the end of the game where the handshake got heated and there was some back and forth there. So Antoine, what caught your eye on that situation?
All right. So, yeah, first thing, yeah, South Carolina handily defeated UConn. It wasn't close. And so there's probably some frustration there with Geno. Um, in the post game press conference, I think he alleged that he came to half court and, before every game, the coaches come out and, you know, give a handshake before the game starts. And his initial statement was that he was out there for about 3 minutes. And then he said that she never came. And then we had video of which we live in this day and world where you can't say anything. You have to understand that, or at least be under the assumption that you are being videotaped all the time. So anything that you say, it should be a factual thing and something that can be based in truth. With that understanding that somebody's probably videotaping you. And so we did actually see that she came out and she shook his hand before the game. And allegedly that was what sparked the whatever he said to her um, after the game was over. Apparently, like that was his, like, hey, I was out there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is, and what it was is, and I'm gonna tell you something to me. Um, and it may, people might ruffle some feathers or whatever. I don't think Geno Auriemma has a high regard for women, and he's a women's coach, especially somebody that can challenge him.
Mm-hmm.
Because you go back, he's had a history. He had a history with Pat Summitt,
Yep.
and like he's always had this. some people can this snottiness about him. That's I mean, like I love his players, but I have never liked Geno Auriemma. I think he's always been like he's so much smarter than everybody else kind of attitude that he brings. And so I mean he's won. He has all the right to with the accolades that he's accomplished. He has those rights, but like I think he has a woman problem. I mean, I to say that and it's like you say that and he coaches women's basketball, but I really do, man. I think he has a problem with women who are threats to him that can challenge him that have been able um, to beat him.
Hmm.
Um, and that's just I mean you just look at the pattern, and so I think that was what he initially he had to have said something to Dawn Staley for her to for her to lose her cool the way that she did. um
Yeah.
so that's my initial, but my take on that, like I said, my take on that is if you look at him and just the way that he carries himself, I don't think he carries a lot of esteem for women. I just, I don't. And it's like, how do you say that being a female or a women's coach? But that's just my thing. Like I think that's just me. You know,
Well, I mean,
and that's
that's
how
I
I saw that
mean,
situation.
yeah, I think that uh I think in there, I think is situation. So I can see where you're going with that, and you could I would tie it in with South Carolina becoming that rival to UConn. I think they both have, obviously they both have beaten each other or what have you, and I don't understand. Gino really doesn't have anything to worry about because I think if you would say who's if you had to rank them as far as their coaching careers at this point, Gino should, he shouldn't feel like he's not number one. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
I think this was more of a frustration thing where look, the team was undefeated all season, and now here they go, and they lay this egg at the end. Now, not lay the egg in the way of they gave the game away. South Carolina won the game, but UConn also didn't play their best game either. Like so I think it's a frustration thing with him thinking like, man, our team should have, would have, could have, should have been advancing. We're going home. Nothing you can do about it. And I'm gonna take it out on Don. And you know, cool. He would probably go back and look back at this later and be like, yeah, man, I was out of pocket. And there might have been a scenario because I think there was on video. There was a video of him waiting, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was as bad as what he made it seem. You know what I'm saying? Because it looks like she was talking to her team and stuff at the time when he was supposedly by himself for a few minutes or whatever. But hey, man, it ain't no big deal. Eventually, they did get together, and I don't understand why he made it bigger than that, other than frustration. Um, you
absolutely.
know, that's what it is. I don't think he's. I mean, I even think I don't think too much about all of them anyway. But it's like, look, you going home, and just like they say when we officiate games, somebody's gonna go home in these scenarios, and they're done for the year. You gotta keep your be on your toes because anything can happen because somebody's gone, and the emotion pendulum's gonna be high on one end and low on the other, and that's kind of like what happened. But here, the main issue with that though is, with that said, he's the leader, right? He's a coach. He's a leader of a team. We expect more from our leaders as far as leading the way on behavior. And so um I don't think it's the last time you'll see Gino do this. But at the end of the day, I think he was out of pocket with it. And they'll just move on. Both of them will move on. I think they'll be okay. I don't think they like each other anyway, Antoine, to be honest with you. I don't think Don liked Gino, and I don't think Gino likes Don. And Gino just the
I
one
can.
that showed his card on the outside. You know what I mean?
Mhm, mhm.
So
And I can agree with that. I mean, you can in at that level, you have whether you like somebody, I mean, like, I think,
Yeah.
and I saw, I was looking at some video, and Candace Parker was talking about, she asked, because I think she had something to do with that game. I think she was supposed to call the game, and she, it was Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. They asked, and she was like, "No, I don't like him." She was just like straight up, I do not like him. And it was like, he came at my coach, and it was, like I said, once he made things personal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In any rivalry, you should have a healthy disdain, but also a healthy respect. And when you disrespect, that's the one thing, man. Like when you create the disrespect, because if it wasn't something that was disrespectful, or if it was something that he was 1,000% about, then he wouldn't
Yeah.
have come back and apologized. You know what I'm saying? Because Don didn't apologize.
No.
She didn't apologize for what she said. She was, and he came back and apologized. So, like you say, as a leader, like, man, you can't. That's the one thing that you have to be able to do. You can't
Mm-hmm.
come back now and tell your team and your teammates. I mean, your players and things, like when they're in the middle of a game and something happens and they lose their cool, and hey, you can't lose your cool. And then the first thing they're going to be is like, but you did.
Right. Right.
When the
Right.
situation was the same way, you lost your cool. And
That's
so,
right.
how dare you tell me not to lose mine when you didn't check yourself? And
That's
so,
right.
but like I say, I think the one thing that I did not like, was that it took away from South Carolina's win. And like I said, the thing that we didn't talk about, how South Carolina dominated
Mm-mm.
UConn. Like you said, UConn was undefeated all year. And our homeboy, Mark, he was telling me, he was like, it's UConn and then everybody else. He was like, that's how he felt about UConn. It's like they're gonna walk to the championship. Everybody else is playing for second. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you get that kind of a thing going on, and now you've gotten to, like you said, you got to that point and you win. I mean, you lose, and you lose handily. It'd be one thing if you lose last second shot, or it's close and you only lose by a couple. That's one thing. But like they got it handed to them. And so now what he did to me was that was the part that he did to me that I did not like. He
Mm-hmm.
did, he took away from what South Carolina did. You know what I'm saying? He took away from them having a big upset and a big win, and it was made about him and Don and that exchange. And come on, man, I'm pretty sure Auriemma is not stupid. He knows that Dawn Staley is a North Philly or South Philly girl or whatever. She's got that. She's you're not going to do a whole lot of playing with her. You know what I'm saying? So he knows what he did, and he knows what button he pushed to get the reaction that he did. And like I say, the biggest thing with that, man, the takeaway was you it we didn't talk about how South Carolina won. Everything was talking about their interaction at the end of the game.
Well,
And
then
that's
it.
what, to me that
Mhm.
was what was low, and the way that he did that, because I
But
think it was calculated, Jones. I really think it was calculated.
and I think it was too. And actually, when you say that, I mean, it makes sense. And if you think about it, hey, he if the media, and I know you're saying that he took away from it, but the media also took away from it because
Yes.
they
But
focused
it's
in
such
on
a
that. They focus in on that as as well when they could have focused more in on the victory
but
and
it's
kind
but
of
but it's such a hard, yeah, but when you get a person, like I say, when you get the reaction from both pitchers, like he puffs up, and then Dawn is like, she's agitated. You can tell that she is really agitated about
yeah.
whatever it is that he said to her. And then, like I said, we still have it. I was trying to look to see if we could see what was actually said, and I can't find anything as far as, like, what the exchange was, to kind of heat her up. that way, and nobody's actually come out
Hmm.
with it yet. And maybe they have, and I just couldn't find it. I was kind of looking around to see if I could see what he actually said to her,
Yeah, neither
to
one of
kind
them.
of
Yeah, neither one of them are giving that out. They both
yeah,
trying to just let this thing ride.
yeah. And like I say, for him, I think that was more that was like the underhanded thing to me is like you took the shine off of what they did. And like I say, but we know the media. We know what the media is always gonna go for the low hanging fruit. That's the easiest thing to talk about. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna, people aren't gonna want to talk about what South Carolina did to him. Everybody's gonna, what did they say? What did they say? What did he say?
Right.
What did she say? Like that's what everybody wants to know. And so that's where the focus is gonna stay. And so it and he did his job. I hate to say that he did his job because, next couple of days later, South Carolina took a bad beat to UCLA. And
Yeah.
the first thing that everybody did was, oh, I saw that the last three times South Carolina's lost. They lost by this. They lost. Like, okay, you're focusing in on that
Yeah.
with her. You know what I'm saying? And so,
But we didn't
but
have
that's
no
another
controversial
subject.
handshake at the end of that game.
Yeah, we didn't. And at the beginning of the game, they kind of over exaggerated being out there at the beginning of the game, shaking each other's hands and doing that, and then at the end of the game, and so, but like I said, that's another subject for another day. So if you
Yeah. Okay,
that,
so we know
but
that
I
Geno
yeah
mission
we
accomplished. You deflected from the loss, and that's basically. I think that at the end of the day, that's probably what he was trying to do. Just get deflect from
yes
this loss and take it all off of everybody else and just kind of leave it out there. But hey, I mean, it was still a great season for both teams. Um, and actually,
and
neither
even a
one of them
better
had a
one for
chance.
UCLA. Yeah,
Yeah,
and even better for UCLA. Like those girls earned it. And like I said, I guess if we're gonna end this little part, hey, they earned it. I
yeah,
watched parts of that game. But, hey, those girls were, that's one of those, and maybe we can pop on that. But that was one of those subjects where they had like 4 or 5 seniors. They all stayed. They all had a mission. They lost kind of bad last year, and everybody kind of said, "Hey, we want this," and they turned it around. And kudos to UCLA for winning the national championship.
yeah, man, they earned it. I mean, it was a clear cut victory. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no way around that one. They
Yeah.
executed and got the job done, and congrats to them. And that draft is going to look good because they have 4 players that's going in there. I think all 4 of them will go in the first round in the draft. So
Yeah.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
good for
And
them. Great story for UCLA.
good. Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
were not. I think they were probably the second best team in the league all in college women's college basketball this year for the whole
Yeah.
season. So it kind of
Yeah.
fell right when UConn out the way. It kind of went
Mhm.
the way it probably was going to end up going. So there you go, man. Hey, but let's jump into speaking of that WNBA draft and multiple players off of UCLA going in the first round. At least 3 of them in the first 10 picks, and South Carolina should have at least 1 or 2 players in the top 10, 11 picks. But Angel Reese, who was a top, I think she was picked round number 6 or 6 pick of the first round, somewhere in there. But anyway, she's no longer in Chicago after 2 seasons. She will be in Atlanta, Georgia. I talked with you a little bit about
ATL
this
ho.
off air.
ATL ho.
I
Okay.
talked to you a little bit about this one off air. But go ahead and let the people know your thoughts on this one, Antoine, with Angel Reese in Atlanta.
Hey, I love this move for her. I love this move for Atlanta. I think she is I think she fits right in with Atlanta. What goes on in that city, the kind of swagger that she brings, the kind of swagger that city kind of wants and owns. I think she will be. I think she will be right at home in Atlanta. I think she will. The city will accept her. They will love her. Like I say, she's like if you could have said that she was, if she was from Atlanta, If you had said she was from Atlanta, I would have believed it because like she kind of symbolizes and embodies what the culture, especially our culture that's in Atlanta. And so that was the first part, and like the kind of the biggest part because you and I both we started looking at tickets, and these ticket prices are crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because she's there. You know what I'm saying? Because of what she's bringing, and that's why the thing that people try to holler and minimize about who she is and what she has done and her impact. Not only with Caitlin Clark, but the WNBA. She is legit, man. She is a legit force as far as being a attraction. People want to see her. People, it's just like any great hero or villain. People either want to see you succeed, and you got people that want to see you fail. And so she brings that. She brings that to this team. I think Atlanta is before we get to Atlanta. I think for her, the biggest thing now, she wasn't a franchise player. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't get picked like right. They picked Cardoza right
Right.
before they picked her.
Yeah, a couple
From
couple picks before her.
Yeah. So if she was that person, she would have been picked before, and then they wouldn't have traded her. But they picked her where they picked her because I think they got a good deal for her as far as that. But what she'll be able to do now is she won't be the first, like she won't be the first or second option probably offensively. She can just go in and play her game, and her
Yep.
game is to be a scrapper, a rebounder, somebody that's gonna get in there and give you effort. Um, and I think that was always going to be her role. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
She was always going to be that type of player. She wasn't going to be somebody that you could throw the ball to 17, 18 times in the post, and because that wasn't her game. She didn't have that game. She never had it. She was always, I'm going to out hustle you. I'm going out, I'm gonna outwork you. And with this team, the way Atlanta's kind of constructed now, I hope she buys into it. I hope she doesn't. As far as the basketball part of it, which I don't think that she won't. Um, I hope she buys into it, and the team can, use what she's going to bring to the team, and push
Mhm.
Atlanta forward because I think they can be really good. I think they can be really good this year. I think they can be kind of contenders, and
Well,
we'll just see. I think they can be. You add the right person, and that's all it takes on a lot of teams. Man, you can get a team that's middle of the line, which I think Atlanta has always. They've been over the last couple of years middle of the line, and you can add that one player that pushes you to the next level. So, uh, but me
I think
yakking about that, I think she'll fit there well, and I hope she does. My bad. Yeah,
yeah,
your
I
turn.
think it's a win-win. It's a win-win for both Atlanta and Angel Reese. We don't know about Chicago yet because the one thing that's not being said, Antoine, is, and I think you kind of nailed it as far as when you said she's not a franchise player, and this is not a knock on Angel Reese, and I think
No,
people need to understand that, and we said that off the air too,
hey,
but
can I say something real quick? Can I say
well,
something real quick?
well,
Just just
okay,
just
real
just
quick,
just have a second, just real quick.
all right,
You look at any draft anywhere,
yeah,
whatever pick, nobody has ever had a draft where every person has worked out to be where either where they were drafted or where they ended up. But
okay,
go ahead.
yeah, but the same thing is that it doesn't really matter because even in Chicago, if she the same role that she's gonna have in Atlanta, it's probably gonna be the role that eventually she would have needed to have in Chicago. They had to just finish building out the team. In this case, Atlanta already sort of have a team put together, and now she can fall into the spot. And that's where I think it's a win-win for her because
Mm-hmm.
now all she has to do is do the things like you said. Just continue to rebounder, continue to be an enforcer type player, and now you got room to improve on your offense, and it doesn't hurt, and you're not going to be required to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not going to be needed like it would have been needed in Chicago right now. So she can help. She can work on refining her game. Maybe work on having a nice jump shot out of there because with Ryan Howard and with man, what's the lady name? Just slipped my mind. Um, oh,
Um,
Alicia
yeah,
Gray.
great. Yeah, yeah.
Between having Gray and Howard, man, they got the scoring that they need, and Jordan Canada and all these other players. Reese can come seamlessly, feel right with what that team needs, which is some physicality, some more physicality. Because when they trying to play the New Yorks and the Minnesotas, and the Vegas teams, that's what they're going to need in order to beat those top of the line teams. Atlanta now has a shot, and like you also said, the way those ticket prices are going up and things like that. Now Atlanta that will have that momentum going with them as far as the city of Atlanta back in the team. You know what I'm saying? So now it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be a even stronger push for Atlanta, not just in Atlanta too. This is going to be seen across the country. As far as
Mm-hmm.
now, Atlanta's going to be one of those teams where it's like, if you don't have a WNBA team, a lot of people are going to kind of like, if you don't have a team in your area, in your market, you're probably going to say, oh, yeah, Atlanta's going to be my team. They're going to become that kind of team now. You know what I'm saying? Like how people with the Bulls were riding with the Bulls back in the day. Uh, they live in Alabama, they live in Arkansas, but they're a Bulls fan. You know what I'm saying? Like Atlanta's gonna
Mm-hmm.
start picking up a lot of fans across the country, and they're gonna become that it team at some point. That's a big move. That's the money move as far as like what you were saying with Angel Reese, because if she is a player in the league that she has a fan base, and that is valuable to have. And so I think it's a win-win for her and for the team. Now, you was saying you think they're going to be a contender. I think that they're going to be knocking on the door. I just don't know if they're ready for those upper echelon teams yet, but they're going to be one of those teams that are close to it. I think they will be, and maybe with one more move, they can get it done. So they're right there. They're going to be in the picture. So the Atlanta, I mean, it's really excitement now, man. There's a lot of excitement in Atlanta, and they're going to be packing the house out this summer, man. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and like I said, with the um as far as like I said with the one thing that you can with basketball too, man, or whatever it is, just in anything, like once you start to believe, and like I
Yeah,
say, at the beginning of the season is going to be kind of crucial for them. I think, like you say, that they get in there, and if I think everybody kind of works, and even if, like you say, you still got, I mean, you still got the aces, you still got the links, and I think when we were, we were talking about
Liberty.
that
You got
the
Liberty.
Liberty.
Yeah.
Um, but with the links, I was looking at the thing, like they're talking about like 1% of the tickets, the available the tickets that are available for like an early game. It's only like 1% of the tickets that are still
Hmm.
available. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And so like this is like that's one of those things. You know what I'm saying? And I think overall it helps the WNBA
Yeah.
when you
Atlanta's become
start
a
getting that.
Atlanta's become a player now. Like they're going to
Yeah.
become one of those teams that you
And
identify the league with. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And the
Hmm.
one thing that's happening too, that when you were talking about what happens in this expansion draft. What are these better teams that had these players gonna look like without some of their elite? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
some of these teams aren't gonna have, they're not gonna be constructed the way they were last year because somebody's came in and they've come in and plucked out a player or two. And
Yeah.
like you say, you pluck out this player or this player. Now this team has to adjust. But Atlanta went in and plugged the player instead of
Right.
losing getting somebody picked. They plugged, and so that's why I say we just like I said, we just got to see how the season goes. But
Yeah. Yeah.
like I say, it's
Yeah.
the overall thing of it, man. I love it for her. I
Mm-hmm.
love it for you know we can probably say that we're Atlanta people as far as like supporting and
Hey, man. I've been going for
and you
years
you know
kicking
you
green
yeah
games.
you've been going to catching the $20 $220 what'd you say $22 tickets. Them gone, pimp. Ain't no more
Yeah.
of them.
Hey,
ain't no more
them
ain't
things.
no more $22 tickets. Them days is over with for right now. You know what I'm
Man, look,
saying?
let me tell you, bro. Man, you could go over during the summer, man, catch you about 5, 6 games, man, and you totaled out about $120, right?
Yeah.
Now one
One
game is
game. One
$120.
game
Like
go
this,
get you about $120 and you ain't go I don't know how the setup is, but like the way that the construct for the tickets, like I mean, I think the place looks, I don't think it's, I think that I've
it's
never
not a
been
bad
in
seat
the
in there, man.
yeah, I think yeah, and that's what you told me before, that it's not a bad seat, but it's like, okay, I'm paying $120 for this not bad seat, but this was, $20. This was a $20 ticket last year. Now it's $120. So
Hey, man, look, a couple of seasons ago, a group of us went to see. Now, mind you, the Minnesota Lynx. This team within the last 2 years has been in the championship mix. So you going to
yeah,
see a championship level team, $20, man, $22. Come on, man. You couldn't beat it, man. At the college
yeah,
at the Gateway Arena in College Park, that's where
yeah.
most of the games are. And now, I think this year, like last 2 years now, when they played at State Farm Arena, it was against Indiana both times, twice a year. This year is 5 games going to be played at State Farm Arena, and I'll go ahead and
Yeah,
lay them out
yeah.
to you real quick. I'll lay them out to you real
Hmm.
quick before we go to the next topic. But they're
Hmm.
opening up this season with Vegas. I think we both know that they are
Hmm.
going to play 2 games against Indiana again, and we know
Hmm.
why.
Yeah.
They're going to be at at the State Farm.
State Farm.
It was it. This is the one that's going to shock you, but I'm gonna tell you why. But before I do that, let me tell you what another one is. Chicago was the other one,
Hmm.
but now she's not on Chicago; she's on Atlanta. So I don't know how they're going to do that one. Uh, and then here's the other one, the fifth one, and it's not in this order, but they're going to play sometime in June. I think it's June 22nd at State Farm Arena, and it's going to be against Toronto, the expansion team. And it makes you wonder, like, why Toronto? Well, FIFA will be going on. The World Cup will be going on
Hmm.
around that
Yep.
same week.
Yep.
So it's gonna be a lot of international people in the city. It's gonna be a lot of people. So they're gonna have that game right downtown at State Farm, where all those people gonna be at, Mercedes Benz and all that stuff. So there's gonna be a lot of people downtown. So they're gonna try to take advantage of that situation and say
And,
and
and
and, and figure people
hey,
gonna
it's a
fall
game.
into a game.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's a game there. Yeah, you've never. Hey, this is a chance for you to get to a WNBA game. Hey, this is
yeah,
Angel Reese, and she, this is her. And if Atlanta is doing what they should do, they should probably get in there. And it should be be a good game, but it may be one that we hoping Atlanta can pull off. But and just to divert for a little second, um, you know, I think and I don't. I think whoever is making the moves in Atlanta, as far
yeah.
as both teams, the men and the women, I like what they're doing. I see that they're finally doing some of the stuff that we have always wanted them to do, man. And it's like make
But
some
that game,
bold moves, make some, let you, I don't know how edited this is, but let your nuts hang a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, they went and did this. Even, that they're making some moves, they're doing some stuff, they're trying. And so it's
yeah,
like now you can't say that nobody's trying. That's always kind of been the knock, like, oh well, nobody's doing anything, nobody's trying to. They're trying. They're making some moves.
yeah.
And like I said, the dream, it's their turn. We'll see what the Hawks do, but hey, I like it, and like I say, I think she'll be a perfect fit in this city, and I just I want
Yeah.
some big things out of it.
Well, we're gonna see what happens, man. It's got to happen on the court, though.
Yeah, that's the biggest
We'll see
part.
what happens. We'll see how it go, because ultimately they got to deliver on the court, right? But at least in
Mhm.
theory, everything is looking right, and we'll definitely find out. Now, the one thing we didn't talk about, and we got to talk about it because we got to be real. Why would Chicago trade her? You know what I'm saying? This is a highly talented player. Uh, Obviously a double double type player. If nothing else, she's going to deliver in some shape, form, or fashion for you on a nightly basis. And a young player. This is like only her third year in the league. Why would Chicago trade her? You know what I'm saying? I know we're talking about it from an Atlanta perspective, but why would Chicago do it? And
Uh,
before you answer that, there's a little bit of word on the street that Rakia Jackson may end up in Chicago. There's some talks there between LA and Chicago on a trade possibility. So don't be surprised. You're hearing it tonight, but don't be surprised if Rakia Jackson is the player that replaces Angel Reese in Chicago. So it makes me wonder, Antoine, and we got to be fair about it. Do you think there was some stuff going on in Chicago where it's gonna try to Angel, and we'll see who we can get to replace Angel?
I mean, absolutely. Like, um, when you get in it's for us. I think it's kind of easy when you start comparing it to the men's game a little bit. If you remember when Detroit had Adrian Danley and Isaiah
Yeah,
Thomas, it was
right.
like, who we going with? You know, we
Oh, when they wanted Mark Aguirre,
yeah,
is that
and
what
it's
you talking
like,
about? Yeah,
but it was just like, okay, Adrian Dantley, like he is a good player. He's a he was scoring champion a couple of years, so like we know he knows how to play. But like
yeah,
this is Isaiah team, and so like
right.
these two guys are butting heads, and so like one of these guys has got to move. And I'm not saying that with Angel Reese was it like a situation, but it was like, okay, you also drafted again. You also drafted I think
Cardozo.
Cardozo, yeah, you got her, and it's like, okay, at some point, because Angel Reese is still bringing this attention. She's still, she still has this high profile kind of attention, and so it's like sometimes you have to remove a person from a team to let the other people shine. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I think that's just like a situation with that, especially. And I didn't know what as far as like them kind of going for Jackson out of from LA. You definitely can't have her. Like you can't have her and Cardoza and Reese there. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't
Yeah,
have all three of them there.
yeah.
And again, I think it's a win. I mean, I don't know what I'm sorry, I don't know what Chicago got for her as far as
Well,
like trade
oh,
assets or
well, with Atlanta, I mean, be honest with you, man, they kind of got nothing because it's a first round pick, and then it's a second round pick. So it's something like that. But in this
yeah,
WNBA, a lot of players
yeah,
get drafted, but they don't even make the team. So
yes, yeah,
and then
yeah. So
so it don't feel like they really got much for giving up Angel Reese. But hey,
yeah,
who are we to say? We'll find out.
yeah, and some of and like I said, the biggest thing some of the times is just to be the ability to move on from a player if you think that person is going to have if you don't want to bring if we could go back and I hate to do this and I know we got to move on to the next topic, but you remember like with Portland, you know, they had already had Clyde Drexler, right? So it was like, well, why would we draft Michael Jordan? We already got Clyde Drexler. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So we want to add somebody with Clyde, and you go get Sam Bowie, who wasn't a bad pick, but it was like,
yeah,
what if Portland, you know, and that's just being facetious and all that kind of stuff. But it's like
yeah, man.
some of the times you have to move on from a player. Sometimes you have to do what's the best thing for your team. And like you say, if they're going to go get Jackson out of out of LA if that's the move that they want to make. I mean, yeah, that's the right thing to do.
So,
Get Reese out of there. It takes away some of the that whole that
but
whole
maybe that was their
thing.
plan, and maybe that was their plan all along.
Yeah.
Maybe they kind of know that's what's going down.
Hmm.
So making this move is like, oh, okay. Maybe it wasn't just a off the wall move. It was like, okay, we already got a plan in place, and
Yeah.
we
It's
already got. So
calculated.
now we know this is going to work out in a minute. So we're gonna go ahead and clear the deck so we can have her come in. I mean, it makes sense when you think
Yeah.
about it. So
Yes. Yeah.
and again, if this is how it falls, Chicago doesn't really lose out of this. Atlanta doesn't lose out of this. Angel Reese doesn't lose out of this. Jackson don't lose out of this,
Yes.
except
It's
that
with.
I personally want Jackson to be in LA, but who cares
Yeah.
about what I personally want? But at the end of the day, I think it works out for Chicago too. And if it does, guess what? That Chicago Atlanta game will
Yeah.
be so.
Yeah.
Man, the league is heading in the right direction here. We'll talk about it later
Yes.
about all the expansion and all that on another time. But we're gonna jump into this NBA, man, because man, this is the last week of the regular season, Antoine. Let's start with our Lakers, man. First of all, man, what a way to end the week and the last week of the season. Getting the doors blown out by OKC. Our guy LeBron doesn't play. Um, you know, against a team when we need him to play. We lose to Dallas, and people don't want to talk about it, but Dallas didn't have AD or Kyrie. They're being led by a rookie, and they beat the Lakers. LeBron was on the floor. Like what is going on here with this team, man? For just a week ago, ESPN was making it seem like the Lakers can go to the finals. And boy, what a couple days make. You know what I'm saying? So let's start with the Lakers, man. What are you seeing with the Lakers at this point?
I think the first thing I sent out when I think somebody posted this on Facebook, and I think I sent it out. And
Oh,
it
one more
might have
thing,
been.
Antoine.
Yeah.
Antoine, one more thing, please. Shout out
Mhm.
to Latanya at Heavenly Spa Mobile. She made comments earlier. I made sure it was posted. But Heavenly Spa Mobile, make sure you all go to Heavenly Spa Mobile website and check her out. Where relaxation is the key. Get some gift certificates. Get you a massage. All kind, man. Swedish, the kind with the stones, the hot stones, and the towels and all that stuff. Make sure you check out Heavenly Spa Mobile. So go out to Heavenly Spa Mobile. All right, website Heavenly Spa Mobile. Check it out. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Back to
Yeah.
you,
Hey,
Twan.
I was going to say. No. Yeah. A spa. Hey, man. As we've gotten older, the one thing that you need as an older person is your own personal time, some relaxation, something that allows you to get some stress relief. And so, hey man, I've only been to one. Me and my wife did like
Yeah. Okay.
a couples thing. And man, I think that was one of the most times I have been relaxed in my entire life. So hey, yeah, get
Hey,
out there
man.
and check that out.
Yes, sir.
Now
Like it.
as far as the Lakers, again, I think somebody put out there, and I think I posted on Facebook, like what are the Lakers' chances with Luka being out, Luka being out first round, and uh, uh,
Oh yeah,
Austin
what's his name gonna
Reeves.
be out
You
too?
know,
Austin Reeves. Yeah.
yeah. So we're gonna miss Luka at least the first round. Austin Reeves is probably if if we win enough, it may be second or the comp. We would have to kind of get to the conference finals for him to get back. Uh, I said barbecue chicken, bro. We done. We're we're done.
We
We're
well done.
absolutely done. With a, I want my steak cooked 15 minutes on each side. That's how well done we are, bro. It's and it's and it's gonna be kind of anticlimactic about
Mhm.
LeBron's departure from LA. Came in with such high expectations and like he's gonna turn the franchise around and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that and we're gonna leave with him leaving and y'all LeBron fans can take it how you want to. We're gonna be better once he leaves because now we can focus on how this team going forward with Luka and putting the pieces around him are gonna be and making him, making this team better. Um, and I'm a bad critic of LeBron James, man. But the one thing that I can say about he is what he's 41, 42 years old. I mean,
Mhm.
to still, I mean, even to still be at that high of a level, to be that old, we all know what it does. You know what I'm saying? Like the ability to do what it was or what he does. And it is remarkable. It is absolutely remarkable that somebody's, played that many years. He's never really had that bad injury. You know what I'm saying? He's never really had that really bad one that took him out for a long time. But as far as like our team, man, it's we're done, man. We're not gonna get out of the first round because I mean, like the situation, or at least the envisionment of it, was that Luka could carry the team, and when we needed LeBron, he could play in spurts. He could play in pieces, and he could play in situational basketball and allow himself to help the team that way. But uh, one thing about a hamstring, and you got that super serum up there. I don't know what they kind of got set up, but a hamstring is one of those things that takes a long time, and the only thing that helps it is rest, not using it. You know what I'm saying? Like you just got to let that muscle heal.
Yeah.
And so um, that's the only thing about that. You could go out and you can be good, and 2 games you're great, and then that third game you tweak it and it's over with. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
done tore
Those
it
things
back
are
up.
real
So
tricky. Yeah, I
yeah,
thought
they
it took
are.
it took me about 3 weeks, man. One time, matter of fact, I think a lot of y'all came up here. We played. Remember, we played over here in Macon, and remember we met out there at the Sports Town place and played out there. Um, and I remember that day, earlier that day, I had did like a field day type of event with the place I used to work at, and we did like a tug of war, and we was on grass, and I had tennis shoes on, so I don't slip. You know what I'm saying? I'm sliding, and I don't mess around and pull my hamstring. So I actually played that day when y'all got up here, but my hamstring was already hurting because I already had pulled it. Me about a good 4 weeks, bro. It took me about a good 4 weeks, Antoine, to get my hamstring back on track. I don't know if you remember that time y'all came up here. We played up at that sports
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
And
So,
and and then how long ago was that?
and that was
How
a long
old were
time
we
ago.
then?
It was
Yeah,
a long
how
time
old were we
ago.
then? We were
I
still at
can't.
what? We were still in our 20s.
I man, look, I can't remember now,
Yeah,
but I'll say this: it took me about at least 4 weeks to get that thing back right. And you was absolutely right. You got to rest. And so with Luca, even if he does come back, even if they, shoot him up with some stuff, man, you still need time to get reacclimated to be back on the floor, and you're gonna be playing in the playoff level, like against playoff level teams. Now you ain't gonna have the Washingtons and teams like that you can, work your way back in with and that kind of thing. You're gonna be playing right off the rip against a Houston, you know what I'm saying, or against a Denver, and don't mess around and get the second round and you got to play a OKC. You know what I'm saying? So it's a wrap, man. And I want you to look at this stat here, this 2-12. You know what I'm saying? That's against real teams. You know what I'm saying? Teams with real records. It is not looking good. And ultimately, our problem is our best players. And I'm saying with an S. So our best players are not defenders. Three of them. You know what I'm saying? And when you have three players on the floor and three of them are not defenders, you know what I'm saying? The team, and we got to have resistance, and that's the difference in some of these elite teams that are going to be moving on in the postseason. So yes, the Lakers will win a lot of games in the regular season, and will make the playoff. But you know what it is, Antoine. We're talking about championship or bust. The team is just not built for a championship yet, and that's going to take time. That's going to take a little time.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing, like I say, is the fact that okay, I just want to pull it up real quick. Look,
Okay.
right now we're four,
Yeah,
so we would
I
get
can
a
say.
4-5 matchup.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Right there.
we get 4-5 matchup. We get the Rockets,
Yeah.
and bruh, do you just tell me over the last 10 games, we're we're 6-4. Um, they're 8-2. They won 7 in a row. We lost 3 in a row. Do
Yeah. We're
not tell
trending.
me,
Look at the
yeah,
trend.
but but do not tell me that you don't think if the Lakers get the Rockets in the first round, that KD is going to try to annihilate LeBron James, because this will be one of those times. I mean, I'm just saying, whatever
Yeah.
it'll be one of those times when, and I'm telling you, the Rockets are probably going to go to try to sweep our ass, because it's
What?
going to be one of those times where you
Hmm.
can't sit back and say that, oh well, KD had Steph and this. It's going to be mano y mano, because the Rockets probably got a better team, but it's going to be a time where, and you can say, oh LeBron, whatever, it's old KD. You gonna
Yeah.
have them head up against each other, and I'm just telling you, KD is probably going to try to kill us. Just what I'm saying, just to say like, hey, y'all sat here and talked all this ish about what I did in doing all of this, and I I made y'all king walk away. You know what I'm saying? I I I
Well,
I, I dismissed your king.
also don't forget Udoka. You know, also Udoka doesn't necessarily. He's not too fond of the Lakers and LeBron either. So,
Yeah,
Udoka's going. He's going to try to make sure his team is ready as well. They got some size. You know what I'm saying? They have some defenders. Amen Thompson as a big guard. Like they're gonna. The Lakers will have to play
we
defense, and the problem is we don't
yeah.
play defense, and so it's going to be a field day for teams to score on our team, and so it's just not in the cards, man. And we're trending the
Well,
wrong way. And one more
well, let me
thing,
ask you.
one
Okay.
more thing, record wise, if we're not too careful, we got to keep an eye on tonight's game against Golden State to see if Steph's not playing. So I guess that's a good thing. But the Lakers need to really get that victory, because if you don't watch out by the end of the week, Houston could be the 4 and LA could be the 5. But what you want to ask me?
No, and the thing in just off of the thing that you started with was the fact that um, we have our top three players were not better defenders, and this is playing devil's advocate and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
What if now the fact that we are forced to play other guys and probably having to put guys in that are better, probably better defenders? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, you're going to have to move some guys in somewhere. You're probably going to move in guys that are less. I think that's where we'll lose at. It won't be the fact that we won't be able to defend, because I think you'll probably put better defenders in. It'll be the fact that we can't give the ball to anybody and score. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not going to be able to score enough points against whoever we play, because our best two scorers won't be playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're taking away the best two scorers. Um, and
yeah. My, yeah, I get what you're saying,
again,
but
now
my
we're
thing
back.
is,
Now we're back. Now we're back asking LeBron to carry the offensive load, which we know that he can't do it. He can't do it sustainably.
Right.
And I get what I know what you're gonna go with as far as like not being. I mean, because I like I say the only other people now that we can put in the game are gonna be guys that are gonna be you know
Mm-hmm.
maybe more defensive kind of minded guys, and that's the only people that you can kind of in this situation you want to kind of run it that way. Um,
Yeah, but
but
we just
I
don't have
guess
enough. We just don't have
you
enough.
know
You know what I'm saying?
that's
We ain't
just
gonna have
throwing
enough
hope
on the
of
floor.
the thing up what you call it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
we won't have
we,
we won't have enough.
yeah, having three on the floor that don't play defense is tough. Like if you could have two on the floor, one out, like two of them, one of them don't start, LeBron, or you know what I'm saying. Now it might be better, but when you start, asking for trouble, showed you the issue. They exposed the team for what it really is. That they had a field day. I mean, they had a straight line to the basket almost every possession. It was just like zero resist. It was as if there was no one on the defensive side of the floor. So if that's going to be a problem
Nobody
against better
tried.
teams, and that's what we are. You know what I'm saying? As far as the Lakers go, but um, I guess we need to get into some other stuff here. OKC, let's give them a little credit though. Oh, well, speaking of OKC, because they're wire to wire number one seed, man, and man, for them to win a championship the year before and come back now this year is not a fluke, man. Where I think we ran the league has a young team that's also the best team in the league, and that's a real unique situation. And I wish the NBA would really talk about it more. You know what I'm saying? That you have a young team, small market team at that, and it's the best team in the league. That's what you would want the league to promote, so that it shows that every city can say, "Hey, we got a shot. We can build something too." If OKC can do it, it can be done anywhere else. What are your thoughts there?
And this is one of those things that we've talked about as far as like the LeBron effect. You have to get him away from the game because this has been coming for a few years. You got these teams that have moved, and like you say, the Spurs, the Thunder, the Nuggets have always kind of been there. But these other teams, man, that are actually good teams. We go. You see how the Pistons are growing. The Celtics have won championship last year. I mean, the year before, not last year, the year before. The Knicks, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you had these teams that have, that are starting to, like all these other teams have these young guys. We look at the Hornets. The Hornets are 43-37, and they're the ninth seed in the East.
Yeah.
But like,
Hmm.
they're starting to grow. You know what I'm saying? They got the Knuckle kid that probably he might should win Rookie of the Year, but he won't win it because they're gonna give it to Cooper Flag. But and yeah,
Hmm.
excuse me if I told his name, Knuckle, whatever, you know what I'm saying. But we got these teams, you know what I'm saying. You got all these other teams that are starting to grow, and we're like it's starting to move around a little bit, and it's just like it's always going to be talked about with LeBron because he's still here and he just won't leave, man. He's like that cousin that came to stay with you over the weekend, and that joker that stayed like 6 months. And it's like,
Hmm.
man, come on, cuz you need to leave, man. We need, you know what I'm saying? Like it's time for him to go. But
Yeah.
anyway, that was circumvent that. I think that you know I think the they just can't talk about it because he's still here, and they won't talk about it because again the media goes to the low hanging fruit. They're always going to talk about the easiest thing to talk about, and it's to talk about what the Lakers going to do. And man, like under any other circumstance, anybody knows if you take out any other team, if you take out Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, if you take out Gilgis and I don't know who their second best player, but let's just say Chet. If you take out Wemby and Castle, um, if you take out Kevin Durant and you know Parker, if you take out anybody else's two best players, then you, regardless of what they did, you know what I'm saying, during the season, are you going to be like, well, they're still a playoff team? No, you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But but it's just like the LeBron effect gets so much
Well,
unnecessary
uh-huh.
stuff that goes along with it, man. But
Yeah,
and like I said, I guess we'll move
that's
on
that hot
from
topic. That's the topic that they
yeah,
always want to push on the brands.
yeah.
But hey, what about in the East, man? You mentioned Detroit just a second ago. I think Detroit and Boston are the top two in the East. Do you think? Do you think there's a team that can knock one of those two off
Um,
in the East?
I would not want to. I think if it stands pat the way it is, I don't think that I don't think the Knicks and I'm looking at the records. I don't think the Knicks can beat the Celtics in the playoffs. I just don't think they can beat them.
Yeah.
Um, just because I just think the Knicks are. I mean, the Celtics are. They got a good coach. They're level headed. Their best player is working himself back in. Their second best player, which is also their best player, and that that's one storyline that we never talk about, man, or they didn't get enough credit of how well Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum play together as far as being like a 1A and a 1B kind of situation where like either one of those guys could be a franchise player wherever they are, but they choose to play basketball together and they don't, you never hear any kind of, like it's nothing but admiration and like, I need him, he needs me. I want him to succeed. I want him to succeed kind of stuff. And like, that's the thing. I'm just telling you, I think Boston's coming out of the East just because of that. I think that they have such a good chemistry between those two guys. They won together. Um, and they want to, like I say, I think they want to prove everybody wrong about how they're set up. Um, and
Okay.
so I don't, like I say, if it stays the way it is, I think that Detroit will probably beat Cleveland unless somebody gets in there and shakes something up. But I don't think Detroit can beat Boston. Um,
I
simply
do.
because I think the pedigree. You know what I'm saying? I think like how we've always talked about that it's always been a process. It's always got to be a process. You've got to get to the
Well,
playoffs. You got to get
that's
to
what
the
they've been
first
doing.
round, second round, and you've got to do those things. And so now I'm pretty sure they'll make a conference finals. I think they'll get to the finals against Boston, and it'll maybe a 4 or 5. I mean, no, not a 4 or 5, but like a 6, 7 game series. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think Boston will win just because Boston has been there, and I think like I said, we talk about these things, man. But like Cade Cunningham, we hadn't talked about. I bet you could ask somebody right now that probably thinks that they're a good basketball follower, and they could name you take Cade Cunningham off that team and name me 3 other players that play for Detroit. Who's the coach at Detroit?
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
I know more, but I'm
yeah,
gonna tell you, I think I'm a pretty decent. But I don't know nothing. I don't know the answer to none of them questions. I just ask myself. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Detroit's good.
And so,
Detroit, they're building, man. And I'll say this too. They got a guard that has been playing in place of Cunningham, and they have been winning games even with Cunningham out, which is really was confirmed to me that Detroit and Boston are on a collision course in the East. No, I mean
this,
Atlanta's been on the streak, but now
yeah,
they're tapering off a little bit. I think Atlanta's just missing a. It's funny that they traded away a scorer, but they need somebody to come in that
Yeah.
can score.
Yeah.
So they got to figure out who that is. But they Atlanta does need that one more player with some oomph that they can help close out games against
Yeah.
teams. You know what I'm saying? Because like Donovan Mitchell
And we talked
has
about that too. We we,
shown
we
that he's
said
a
that. We
difference.
both have said, yeah, we
Yeah,
both said that
yeah,
like they, they I think that
yeah.
they got better fundamentally without Trey, but they it's like we needed to do this, but keep Trey. You know what I'm saying? It's like you needed to
Right.
make the moves, but you still needed to keep Trey to make.
So
You know
so
what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like because I think he would. I think
yeah.
with him, oh man, that would have been those guys
Yeah, so
would have been.
that's what Atlanta's missing. They're missing that one little player there to help get them up through the upper echelon. And then Cleveland is solid, but I just don't see them being better than Boston or Detroit. I think Boston Detroit's on the collision course in the East. And yes, Detroit is they're going to be there sooner than later
And I
because
don't
they're
believe
starting to
in
make those
sorry.
steps. They're starting to make those
And I
steps
don't-
like OKC did, right?
yeah.
So Boston probably breaks through. Detroit's going to be close. I would love to see a Boston OKC finals. That's what I would like to see. So we'll see where it all lies. But look, man, how do you feel about this 65 game rule where you have to you have to play at least 65 games. There's a couple of games you could play in throughout the season that they allot you to play at least 20 minutes. There's only so many that you do 20-minute spurts games of. I think Wemby's going to try to do that before the season ends so he can make that 65 threshold. But do you like that rule? I personally like it, but I want to get your opinion on that. Do you like that rule?
I absolutely do like it. I think that, and you can't tell me at any job that any job that you have anywhere that you're allowed to be absent 20% of the time and still keep your job because that's basically what this is saying. You with the you get to miss what that's 17 games, and then
Yeah,
like you
somewhere in
said,
there. Yeah.
whatever like around 17 games, which is
Hmm.
roughly, when you get to talking to the numbers, that's roughly about 20% of the games. If you like, that's like only coming to work 4 days out of a 5 day week. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Hmm.
can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I ain't gonna be here Monday. Okay, well, I ain't gonna be here next Thursday. All right, well, I ain't gonna be here Wednesday. Hey, man, I'm gonna take an early weekend Friday. Hey, well, yeah, I took an early weekend Friday. I'm gonna extend it. I'm gonna take this Monday off. Yeah, man. And next week, man, hey, man, oh, my cousin got a game on this third. Like, like you can't do that anywhere else. You cannot say that you can miss 20% of your work anywhere else and make millions and millions of dollars doing it, and then expect to be rewarded with what you do when you get there. And and again, let's go dig back. We went to at that particular time, I think it was calculated to be like one of the biggest NBA regular season games. When we went to Atlanta and we saw the Hawks play Chicago, and they played
Yeah.
them like in the Georgia Dome, and it was
But
a lot of it like that. But like at that particular time, it was such a you know you had a big thing, what I'm saying? Like it was a big thing, and they played in the Georgia Dome, and da 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 da. But
so
even
you good
in
with the
that
rule
game,
then?
yes, I'm good with the rule, but I just want to say that Jordan didn't play that game, and it was like when you get these games and you're missing these games, it's not just important to what it means as far as like individual accomplishments and those kind of things. It's something to the fans. You know what I'm saying? Like like you say, and that's one of the things that these people talk about. Like, man, you can't sit and you can play basketball when somebody only gets to watch you once or twice you know what I'm saying, a lifetime. I got to see, my favorite player. Jordan was probably my favorite player, but I never got a chance to see him live. but I actually got to see Kobe Bryant play twice in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? They had games, LA was in Atlanta. I got to see him twice. And that was
Yeah,
what it was because he came, and he played.
got it.
Now, what does it, like those kind of things matter, and it's not just like I say, the 65 part of it is one of those things where it's like, man, you got to play these games not just because of these individual accomplishments that you can ascertain, but the things that you do for the fans. These guys want to see you play, especially if you're able to play. Now, if you're hurt, that's one thing, that's fine. But
And if you
that
and look,
load
and,
management nonsense and
yeah,
that stuff, and I know what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. If you don't play these games and you can't play them and these things happen, guess what? That's the cause and effect of, guess
correct.
what? Yeah, you can't be the sixth man of the year. You
Right,
can't be
right.
the league MVP. You can't be you can't get these individual accomplishments that you would have got if you had played the games, because guess what? Somebody else that was there did do that. And that person should be rewarded for what they did, as just as well as that's just anything in life. If you don't do something,
Yep.
then you shouldn't be getting credit for it.
Okay. So one more thing here: the NBA lottery. They're looking to work out these the odds. Now here's a proposal. Now they're talking about flattening the odds. I guess they're going to stretch it out to like 18 teams, and most of these teams will all get the same percentage or something like that. So they're really trying to, quote unquote, fix tanking, if you will. I don't know about this one, man. I just think the league needs to. I don't know, man. I don't know about that many teams and flattening the odds, because at the end of the day,
No,
you the purpose of to me the purpose of the league of a league is that the worst teams start have the
draft, you
best
mean?
shot at the best players, so the worst teams can somehow work their way into being in the mix. And
Yes,
that's what pro sports are. I mean, it's an elite league, right? You only have 30 teams in this league or whatever. And everybody's supposed to have like an opportunity to build teams so that they can be competitive. You flatten it out that far, now you're gonna have some playoff teams ending up with a number one pick, and you're still gonna have bad teams being bad. Like, I don't understand all this. I think they need to just get back to just. First of all, I think the 65 game rule will take care of this anyway over time, because your players will show up and play. You know what I'm saying? Your teams will do what they got to do, and then the bad teams will be able to draft. But with all this load management stuff, it makes a good team or even a decent team. Look at Golden State, for example. Curry's not playing again tonight. He's been out all this time, and now he comes back, and then he got to sit again. Like, this is crazy. So Golden State will mess around and be in the lottery, and then all of a sudden you're gonna have a Curry with a Dabanska or somebody next year. Like, this is
that'll buy you.
ridiculous, man.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is ridiculous.
and
But what do
yeah,
you think about that, man, with the lottery?
and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut in on you so much,
No, you
but
good. Go ahead.
absolutely, man, like that has always been the the purpose of the draft, was to let the better players in the college game come in to the teams that weren't doing as well, to help
Right.
them be better. We don't, like the whole thing is like, we don't want to see the rich getting richer. If we want to go back, if we, and I think the way, probably a lot of the way the modern game is set up now,
Mm-hmm.
was because the Lakers, you remember the Lakers won a championship, and because they had made the trade or whatever, they ended up getting a damn number one pick the next year
Yeah.
after winning the championship, and got James Worthy, and that further stretched out their,
Right.
now as a Laker, I was glad that crap happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the rich got richer. And so, but like, that was the whole purpose, as far as like, you don't want to see the teams that are better add more players to the. I mean, because it's like it's not helping anybody. You
Right.
want the teams that are doing, like okay, Washington. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you wouldn't have a Bulls. You wouldn't have a Michael Jordan Bulls if that was the case.
Yeah, if that was the case, I think my thing is, I think the hardest part is something that's not. I don't know if you can legislate it or if you can rule it or whatever. It's just having pride. You know what I'm saying? Like I, I think teams
Yeah.
and maybe they did tank for stuff. The one thing that I can remember was I think Cleveland did tank that time to get LeBron. Like I remember that kind of being clear. Like that was one of the first times like a team kind of like, dude, you're like we losing because we want to improve our chances of getting this guy.
Right.
Um, and a
But it's a
lot of
ba-
time, yeah.
but
But the thing
but the
about
good thing
that
on
is, man,
but the good thing on that is,
go ahead.
Twan. No, I'm saying the good thing on that is that helps a bad team that a lot of people may not know. Cleveland at one point was bad, and like
Hmm.
it helped them get a player to bring hope for the future, and it brought a team that became marketable and had a superstar in LeBron James. Like that brought something to Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? After they had their down years, after the Mark Price and them era, like, and then after that, Ilgauskas, um, Mike Fratello, Sean Kemp kind of era, they was able to bounce back and become now a team that's a credible team in the league. That's the whole point of being able to draft and have the lottery. It's for hope, right? It's for hope for a franchise. So why are we going to try to take the hope away from franchises that are in the dumps? Why would we do that? You're on mute, Antoine. But
I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and yeah, I was trying to unmute
no,
myself.
you good.
But exactly like why we yeah like that is the whole purpose of getting like let's look at San Antonio. After like after the Tim Duncan years when they've been bad. They've been bad for a few years, and guess what? They did. But now did they? I think they well, I don't think they tanked for Tim Duncan. It was just kind of miraculously that David Robinson got injured and he couldn't play.
Right.
He got hurt that year
It was
that
an inadvertent
Tim Duncan.
tanking.
Yeah,
It,
yeah. Tim Duncan got hurt and he came in and history is there. But
yeah.
you know, one thing about San Antonio, and you can like them. They like the four horsemen. You can like us or don't like us. Sit down and look at us. They're back now. You know what I'm saying? They went in, but they drafted well. They went and got Castle. You know what I'm saying? They went and picked up De'Aaron Fox. They've done the things that you're supposed to do, and it's always like you said. We want to call them small market teams, but the San Antonio's, the OKC's. You look at those are the teams that have they're the best organizations. You know what I'm saying? Now
Mm-hmm.
LA has the money. Boston had always had the um Boston had always had the older, they had that mafia, you know what I'm saying? They had that. And you can call it what you want to, but they had that kind of a setup, the older kind of things with Boston, and they wanted stuff in Boston, so it got to be there. Um, New York too, like back in the old days, like they were Boston and New York were always the best at everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But but as far as like how teams are set right now, we look at San Antonio and look at how good they are. And they drafted well, but they got the pick they wanted. And let's just say, so what? Wemby's been in the league. What? This is his third year.
Yeah, it is.
Let's just say, okay, so let's just apply this to this flat thing, and it flattens out, and somebody that was middle of pack 3 years ago, which would have been around, let's just say,
Just say Atlanta.
Yeah. So you would have had, yeah. So Atlanta would have picked up Wemby and Trey Young together, or even let's say worse. Let's say Dallas, because they would have been trending about the same. Well, but let's just say, yeah, Atlanta or Dallas or somebody
Yeah,
somewhere that's comparable to that.
yeah,
Boston. Let's say Boston. You had already had Jason Tatum and uh and Brown, and in some kind of way you're in the middle of the pack 3 or 4 years ago, and you grab up Wemby. Like, is that shit? Is that fair? No, that's not fair. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, no, that's not fair. And so, the way it's set up, I think it's what you do. Um, and you can have I don't people don't like to over government things and over analyze things, but like if you got somebody and you looking at a game, and let's be honest, if somebody's playing a game and you look at a team and you know what they're doing and you know that they're not doing the things that they need to do to try to win, you could have an independent, you can have an independent committee sit back and watch the game, especially those teams that are right there. And if they're not competing and
Well,
they're not doing the things that they need to do, then guess what? No, guess what? You get a strike on you. Boom. Yeah, you
yeah,
might lose. Like you say, you get like however the many numbers go into the pot to get a thing. Guess what? You lose one of your pick. You lose one of your numbers. Boom. You lose one of your numbers against this game.
but
And
why go through
now,
all that?
why go through all of that? I mean, it's because like you say now, the way these teams are set up is because they'll do that crap that Washington's been doing, and they're tanking to try to make sure that they. But it's like, and it's crazy with this draft. It's like you're tanking, but you're tanking for what? You got like 5 guys or 6 guys in this draft that's coming out. Like you got like 5 or 6 legitimate number one picks. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
you really do have at least, I want to say 4 or 5. You got 4 or 5 guys, depending upon how you want to coach your team, that you can say, this is my franchise player. And it's like, why are you're tanking to go get who? You're trying to tank to have a harder decision to make for yourself? Because there's no clear, it's rare when you get those
Yeah,
LeBron James, and let's be honest, LeBron James and probably who, uh, LeBron James, Wilt Chamberlain, uh, maybe Elijah Warren,
hmm,
Bird. It was Bird and Magic weren't like, you pick either one of them, you're not going wrong, Bird and Magic. But like LeBron was like the guy. Akeem was
well,
kind of like the guy.
yeah, but
I'm just
so
saying, like I'm just saying, like,
but let's get to the part of the lot. Do you want to keep the lottery, or do you want to keep it like it is, or you want to flatten it out?
no, I don't want to flatten it out. Keep it like, I think that was out. Well, that was trying to make my point. Was like, I want to keep it like it is. Like you
Yeah.
want to help the best teams get better. You don't want to add to
Hmm.
other like you don't want to. No, like if you're a team that has if you put your team together and you're starting to grow and you go through those situations, and then like
Yeah.
you want to be able to, as a team, to make those. Detroit got their guy when Cade Cunningham was number one. They picked him number one. They went through, oh, Cade couldn't do this. And I remember the criticism on it. You know what I'm saying? I remember when they talked bad about it. And he's gone through now and he's doing the thing, and his team is better. Shea wasn't even, he was what, 6? He got traded. You know what I'm saying? Joker was 14 in the second round, got traded during the damn Taco Bell commercial. Like that kind of stuff, man. Like the what the organizations don't want to do is the work that they need to do. y'all asses need to get out and and evaluate these players and see what kind of team you want to have and trying to put a team together according to your philosophy. And see, that's what people don't want to do. People
Yeah.
don't want to have a philosophy. People don't want to have.
Well, Antoine, I think I lost you there. All right, I think I lost him. All right, we'll get him back. All right, we lost connection there with Antoine, but give him about 2 more seconds. Okay, well, it looks like he's agreeing that he just want the lottery to stay like it is, like it should be, and we'll keep it there. But got a little technical difficulty, but that's okay. We'll come back on the next time, and we'll talk about LeBron and Memphis, and we actually just make that a main topic. But yeah, the league don't need to come with all that stuff as far as um, all these gimmicks and stuff. It's just time to get back to basics and just play ball. Um, and I think Wembanyama is the type of guy that's going to lead the league to get in that direction because he wants to win, he wants to compete, and when your franchise, when your league type of
Uh,
guy is talking, when your league type of guy like Wembanyama wants to compete, wants to be a part of these things, wants to win awards, I think once it becomes his league, I think a lot of stuff will start taking place and finish and shaping back the way it used to be. Antoine, what I was saying while you was out is that like a player like Wembanyama, he's showing that he cares and he wants to win awards. He wants to compete, wants to play as long as he's healthy. And I think when you have a player like that that's going to be leading the way for the franchise, for the players in the future, I think a lot of this stuff will fix itself. So I think the league is trying too many gimmicks. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as wanting to flatten the lottery out that far. I mean, it was one thing to do it with the top four, with the bottom four teams or something like that, or bottom three. But you talking about flattening it out all the way to playoff teams. This is just a little too much for me, for my liking. So they could leave that part alone for us. But as far as I care,
yeah, and I'm sorry. Yeah, I lost you on the connection. I was trying to get it, but yeah, I totally agree with that, man. I don't. That I believe that the teams that are the lower teams, um, you give them a chance to be better. But my thing, man, is where and it ties back into what you were saying about Wembanyama was like, where's the pride, man? Like, I think that's one thing that I think we lost that, man. I think this generation, I think the people, and not just in sports, man. I think in overall life, we've lost the concept of pride, man. Like it doesn't matter about wins. You know what I'm saying? Like, does it really matter about if you win every time or not? No, it doesn't. You want to show up and show what you can do. If I lose, then okay, I'm okay with losing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm okay with losing if I lose and I give you the best that I got. But it's like the kids and everybody now, like they don't want to lose. Like they're so scared of losing that they don't even want to compete. And to me, that's the problem. It's like y'all don't even want to compete, man. Y'all, you want to be okay with having this guy and that guy and all this and that, and you didn't have to do anything, and you didn't have to work hard, and you didn't have to go through the process. And I know we got to get off this phone, man. I've been on here too long or whatever, but I think this is some of this effect of the 2010 11 situation. I'm not gonna call no names, but what happened then, it changed basketball in a negative way. It made it so So we're still reeling from it now, and we're like you say, we're kind of getting back on the other side where guys, um, you know,
Yeah, they want to
Anthony
compete, man.
Edwards.
That they want to
Yeah,
be there, man.
Anthony Edwards like, I don't want to. No, I don't want to play with guys. You know what I'm saying? I want to beat. I want to beat them. I don't want to be with, you know, Boston and like I don't want to. I want to play with the guys that came with me. I want to play with my team, and I want to say that we can win. And so,
Yep.
you
All
know,
right. Well, let me get your thoughts on LeBron before we go. So LeBron and Memphis. His comments about Memphis. When he was playing golf with some guys, and I think they do a show where they golf and talk and stuff like that. And a lot of people are saying LeBron was code switching, if you know what that means. And he was really bashing Memphis. And he was saying like that's one of the worst places that he want to play, worst cities he want to play in and stuff like that. And he brought up the hotel and that's not nothing new about Memphis and the hotel talk. I mean, that's been something. But when you have your best player in the league talking about it, I think personally, I think I lost a little connection there for a second. But like
yeah, yeah.
he's the leader of the league, not a follower. So when you're bashing a city, a team, a franchise, like it's just the way that he came across doing it, in my opinion, that I had an issue with. I want to get your point on it, but basically, in summary, he was bashing Memphis and their hotel and stuff like that, and he's 41 years old, doesn't want to be in Memphis or whatever. So, and then he mentioned a couple other places. But how do you feel about quote unquote the leader of the players in the league, the face of the league, talking like that about a city, an NBA city?
And okay, so the first thing in the biggest glare about that, you came out of Ohio.
Yeah,
You came out of Akron, Ohio. You don't claim Cleveland. You say Akron. You know that was your big thing. You claimed Akron, right?
right.
Ohio probably is one of the most blue collar states that we can all like they're like like that's their identity.
Yeah.
They're so Cleveland, bruh, ain't no you left Cleveland. You left Cleveland because you knew that you couldn't bring Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony there to be the team that you wanted to be. We ain't even gonna get to Chris Bosh yet, but the goal was to get Carmelo Anthony and you and Dwayne Wade in Cleveland, and you knew that wasn't gonna work. But you don't bash. You know what I'm saying? But you had to go to Miami for that. You're going to talk about a place that is like if we're going to be comparative of the places that you grew up in and the places that you live, like this was supposed to be like I'm a Cleveland guy, I'm an Akron guy, I'll get out and ride bikes in the city and I do all of this. And then one of the places that kind of is a mirror city of the places that you're talking about, you're going to go blow it up. Like, come on, dog. Oh man, see it. And again, he needs to step away from the game. That's my thing. That is my whole biggest thing about this. And I know it's not what we're talking about, but like you're bashing a city, and you know I wanted to go to Memphis. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that has been one of the things. Like I've always wanted to visit Memphis. For the things that they do have. And guess what? Instead of the criticism that you could give it and saying those things and being negative about it, what you could at that opportunity, what you could do is say like, hey, you know, like, hey, the city of Memphis has all these good things going on. They got this, they got that. Now in some areas that they probably need a little bit of help, and like if the right people come in and they do this and do that, hey, this could probably be improved. These things could probably, you know, fixed up a little bit. And, because I've had my own personal experiences with this, and you give a positive spin on what it is. You know what I'm saying? And be smart enough to understand that. We claim LeBron is so damn smart. No, you don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't bash a city that's in your league. You know what I'm saying? Like like you say, if you're a leader and you're one of the guys at the top, your job has to be uplifting. You have to take a responsibility on whether you like it or not. That is a responsibility that has been bestowed upon you. You've earned it, but at the same time, you know, you talking about the people of Memphis. You know what I'm saying? Like, and almost the people of the state of Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah, well,
how are they so much worse than the people of Ohio? And I'm gonna just let you get back, but like come on, dog, don't
yeah,
you anything that you say when you got those kind of situations and you got those kind of opportunities, especially in your league, you want to be uplifting. You want it, and whether you might hate the fact that you might hate Memphis as a city, but it's a job that you have to uplift your league because the city is still there. You know what I'm saying? They actually moved from what, man, Vancouver to
to Memphis,
Memphis.
right, and
Yeah.
had success in
It's
Memphis,
huh?
and had success in Memphis. Memphis
Yes.
has
And
been.
so it's
They've had some good runs there, and they had a good
yeah.
home court and good fan base. If it's just a hotel, just hey, let's upgrade the hotel a little bit.
Yes,
You know,
yes, yes. An easy fix. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, when you get in there, you're talking about that, and it's like, hey, like I love the city of Memphis. We get out, and we do a lot of things. Like some of the areas, just hey, just like how Cleveland probably was when I got there, and some of the things that I helped do there, or some of the things that we, as the city has done in the places in Ohio have grown, Akron and Cleveland and those places, Cincinnati, and those places that have grown. Hey, they've had to understand, like, you got to upgrade some of these things to help balance out what goes on in the NBA city and do that. And talk positive about it. It's an easy thing for you to do that. That's why I let you. Man, I can't even say that because I done had about 3 drinks now, and so I'm getting to the point where some
well, look, we almost at the end, man. But look, but look, but look,
yes, sir.
and it just as for me, face of the league. You're the face of the league. Got to be a way that you lead, not follow. Because then one of the first things I heard him say was, "Well, other players are saying this too." Like, no, that's not leadership talk. You know what I'm saying? You're you're supposed to promote your league, and I'm not saying that you don't say that there's problems or issues. You could easily say there's an issue with the hotel and keep it moving, but the city is great. That's the only thing you need to see them work with. Work on. Maybe that's somewhere. Uh, maybe there's one of your sponsors can help with that, or maybe get with the city and see if they could kind of find a way to do like it would have been a much better look. The way you came across is
Yes.
like it came across
Yeah.
like you're just above everybody.
JV.
I expect
You
others
that's
to
a
say
J
stuff.
that's
You know what I'm saying? I expect a Draymond to be like, okay, yeah, the hotel trash
yeah.
and nobody like. I
Yeah.
expect players like
Yes.
that. You're not supposed to
Yeah.
expect that from LeBron. But if you want to be one of
Yes.
them, then you just be one of them. You know what I'm saying? But don't try to play it now like you the leader, but then you act like a follower. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yes. You can't, you know, yeah, it's and man, we look at if we go if and I don't know how much time we still have, but if you go throughout history and you look at the things, even when the older guys, Russell and um, Chamberlain,
Yeah. Hmm.
Reggie Jackson, um,
In
Robinson. You
baseball?
know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I mean just across sports anywhere where, especially as an African American athlete, you had to deal with so much more nonsense and the times and the things that were going on. But you never heard them, it was like, hey, we didn't get to do this, so our team did that. We didn't get to do, and it is different. But my thing with LeBron is like you say, if it's an issue, and if it's an issue, and you're such a big guy, and you're such a person, and it's been affecting you over 20 years. You mean to say in 20 years you've been playing in Memphis 20 years, Negro?
Yeah. Now
Hey,
you
hey, David Stern. Hey, Adam Silver. Hey, man, why don't y'all tell the folks over there in Memphis to tighten this up over here? We over here. We playing series over here. We playing like, man, they need to do something. You don't think that those people that are there, or somebody somewhere that wouldn't invest and upgrade and get the things that needed to be done, even if it's just you saying that's the problem, that it couldn't be fixed? Like, come on, man. You
yeah,
you just
yeah,
he the same way. He likes low hanging fruit. He likes to do the things that are easy. That is his persona to me. He has always liked it easy. He's taken the easy route. He's never wanted it hard. He had it. He was gifted, and he was better. And then when he got to not be the best, he wanted to change the rules. And that is my opinion of LeBron James.
well, there it is, man. We'll leave it at that. So, we'll leave it right there, Brandon. We'll get together another time, man. So we shutting it down for the night.
Yeah, that's what's up, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we talked some good points. I think we both had some some of that stuff that we had, as far as like how the state of, especially our sport, because we're basketball guys, and just talking about our sport and how it's going forward. But like I said, man, yeah,
Well, all right. Well, we out
Lakers,
of here.
Lakers, Lakers losing five. I don't care who they play.
All right. Well, we out of here, people.